thank you very much for coming out to the Wayforward second annual Anime Expo panel. Thank you for coming out so late, or sticking around so late. We appreciate it. We've got a lot of cool stuff to show you. Let me see if I can get this working. Okay. Start from there we go. No, you guys might know her. Bozon is en route trying to make it here. There's some traffic on the freeway, so everybody really hard. Maybe he'll make it here by the Shantae sequence. But in advance of that, we've got some other really cool people here. So let me start by, for anybody who's not familiar with Wayforward, I'll just tell you a little bit about our company. And we make video games, and then afterwards I'll introduce all of our people on the panel, and we can start getting into the games. We've got lots of cool stuff to show you guys, lots of video previews, lots of new exclusive reveals, stuff that nobody outside this room has seen yet, games that nobody outside this room is aware of yet, lots of cool stuff. And then we're gonna wrap it up with some Q&A and trivia and give you guys some games, some prizes. So.
Nice.
Wayforward was founded in 1990 and has developed and published hundreds of popular licensed and original games on all major systems. Some of our most popular games include Shantae, River City Girls and Mighty Switch Force series, DuckTales Remastered, Contra, 2 Contras to date, Bloodstained, A Boy and His Blob, and Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. And the people on this stage were involved in several of these. Company style, our games are typically known for classic, satisfying gameplay, good retro mechanics that feel like they came right out of NES or SNES era, beautiful art direction and animation, and compelling characters, stories, and worlds. And I'm very pleased to introduce you to the other people on the panel. We'll start with, to my right, Mr. Tom Hewlett.
Hi, Tom!
Hey, everybody.
Woo!
Sure.
I most recently directed Contra, Operation Beluga. I worked on Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and Spider-Saurs, and a bunch of other stuff, but those are the most recent ones.
And I was actually thinking, not to take too long, but I had some people throughout the day and over the past week kind of ask, like, hey, how do you get into video games? So after I introduce each of you, why don't you each give one piece of advice on people that want to do video games for a living?
My piece of advice will be, when you're 12, move nearby to somebody that works in games. It worked for me.
Perfect. I am Adam Tierney, director of Wayforward, but most recently in charge of biz dev and publishing. Worked on a lot of titles. River City Girls was the last one that I directed. And my piece of advice is start making games and finish them. No matter how small they are, just start making projects. Next we have Mr. Ben Enrudis, series director for River City Girls.
Hello, everybody. How to get into video games. So I actually used to teach this kind of stuff on the weekends on Twitch. Like, how do you actually get into video games? And one of the biggest things is like I was a waiter. James, what did you used to do before you made video games?
I made video games.
James was a child before he made video games.
I was at Target.
Worked at Target. Like, anybody can do this. It just takes a lot of effort. You are going to do a lot of trial and error, mostly error, like I did. Like, I didn't know how to make, like, when I was doing like a pixel grid thing, I didn't know how to, like, oh, I guess I'll make it 28 by 29. Like, I didn't know. And a lot of error, but it is just, there's so much stuff on YouTube that you can look up. You can literally look up, how do I make a video game? And like, what programs do we use? And like, go get Game Maker, go get Construct, and just keep trying to do things and see what works and what doesn't work. And also, when you get it done, send it to a friend. Because you might be like, I've made the greatest video game in the world. And then you send it to a friend and you're like, you have made the worst video game in the world. And this is why. So it's like, yeah, just keep at it. Like, that is basically it. Try to figure out, am I gonna be a level guy? Am I gonna be an artist guy? Am I gonna be the writer? Am I gonna be the director? Like, what am I gonna do? Try to figure that out and just keep making games. don't make an MMO for your first game.
That said, I think everyone starts by making a massive RPG. It just fails every time. So,
Well,
I did that.
yeah, everybody does it. I did
And
it.
yeah, to finish that off, I always call it the Pixar effect. Pixar did not know how to make hair. They did not know how to make grass or like textured skin, so they made toys. Toys don't have any of that stuff. That's why most of the kids and the dog looks like a nightmare if you watch it now. Then they did Bugs Life. It's like, well, now we can't still do hair, but maybe grass works. So they kept doing that. Finding Nemo, they did water, then they started doing more and more stuff. So build up your game. See if I can make the bouncing ball game. That needs a title, that needs gameplay, that needs levels, that needs publishing, that needs all that stuff. Can you do that start to finish? Keep building up your like engine that way. So there you go. Go do that.
Thank you for the TED Talk. We're very pleased to have a very special guest today, Miss Mariel Cartwright. Mariel, I know her from the Skull Program game, from Skull Girls, from so many projects. She's never officially been part of Wayforward, but for the past over 10 years, she's worked on so many games with us. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you. Hi, I'm Mariel. It's my first time up here. I've worked with Wayforward since the beginning of my career, and I'm actually sitting up here with the two people who gave me my first jobs in video games. Tom, you gave me my job on Silent Hill Shattered Memories, and that happened around the same time that Adam gave me my first job on Barbie and the Three Musketeers.
Ooh.
I like how Barbie gets the woos.
I guess my advice would be, I think I got both of those jobs because my work was online. So put yourself out there, whatever level you're at, just put your work online, continue to improve and better yourself, keep putting that online, and try to build up a little bit of a presence, because you don't know where it'll lead you.
And finally, we have one of our other talented designer directors, Mr. James Montagna. You worked on Wayforward, and what's your advice?
I most recently directed Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp with Nintendo. I also created Vitamin Connection, and I've worked on the Shantae series for, like 17 years or something. So, every time one of my colleagues here gave a piece of advice, I switched to another piece of advice, and then subsequently the next person gave that piece of advice. So everyone gave really awesome advice. So I'll try to give something different, and I'll keep it succinct here. The idea of doing a game jam is a brilliant one, because you'll get a microcosm of what it's like to do real professional game development in a short period of time. I would recommend meeting with like-minded people, looking at websites like itch.io, which has there's always a game jam going on somewhere, and you can absolutely, there's one right now. You can participate remotely, and you can hook up with other people that have different talents to yours and create something together, and I really recommend it. You'll have the experience of professional game development in a compressed amount of time, meet awesome people, and so much of finding your way into the industry is who you know and who you can meet. So it's just a great way. So I would recommend, it's no better time to make games. There's so many tutorials out there. It's just free. YouTube, you can go find a tutorial how to make practically anything. So give it a shot. Get started making games and find other people that want to make games too. Connect and combine your powers and do cool stuff. I look forward to playing your games.
Woo!
That is how you found me, what Mariel said.
Oh, yeah.
I had an online presence of doing stuff on Twitter, and I think it was like a Stranger Things pixel art thing that you saw.
I think what happens with a lot of the people that we find, like Man and Mariel, is the people that are really passionate and have really strong talents and really diversified talents, they just become known. And so with Bannon in particular, I remember I came across you on Twitter. At the same time, Justin Roiland was recommending you. At the same time, somebody else was recommending you. So the universes just converge, I think, to bring people kind of into our flock that have similar sensibilities. And we're so lucky to have all of you guys. guys on our projects. It really means the world.
And not to interrupt, but Matt Bozon says, here, just walking in. So look forward to giving him a warm welcome when he gets here.
Woo!
He's up onto the stage.
Awesome. So, in the meantime, we will go ahead and show you guys the games. We were here last year, and we showed off about 6 games. We're here to show off some new cool stuff. Every one of these has a video component as well. Some of these are the first time anybody's been seeing this. By the way, I've seen a couple panels today. Everybody says, no pictures, no video. Take whatever pictures you want. Take whatever video you want. Put it online, do whatever you want.
Oh, thank you.
For you guys, and we, get your friends involved and show your Twitter followers, and let's do it.
Oh.
So these are the 6 games that we're going to be going over today. Some of them you're pretty familiar with, some of them are out, some of them are coming out soon. And I think if we could dim the lights a little bit for the next, we're going to be doing about 7 videos on and off. So we can just keep it kind of low as long as you guys promise not to fall asleep.
And then Matt's
Oh, well.
Yes, exactly. Spotlight on him.
Wait for it after.
Oof. Hey, hey.
All right, so here's our first game.
Oh, boy.
She is nothing but the commoner.
I am no longer the timid woman you once knew.
Doesn't mean you have class.
I am the one who will inherit the family. This house will be
I shall make you obey me.
You will be a piece of cake for me to dodge your slaps. Someone who can challenge her power.
The Death Queen circuit begins. Welcome to America. The reputation of this game is a giant sucker dog.
Oh, God.
Rose and Camellia Collection. Available now on Nintendo Switch.
So we start the night by what we revealed, our big surprise reveal last year, Rose and Camellia Collection. It's our Nintendo Switch exclusive collection of Japanese developer Nigoro's wild Punch-Out meets Downton Abbey style of games. Players slap back against high society in a collection of 5 different games, 2 of them debuting in this collection, plus local 2-player versus mode, and either touchscreen or Joy-Con motion controls. Anybody who was on, Newgrounds and Flash games around 2000 might know this game. I was always obsessed with it. James, Matt, and I took over publishing at Wayforward 2 years ago. And the day I took over, I said, "We are doing this game. We are finding the people that made it, and we're getting it on Nintendo Switch." A year and change later, we did it, and it came out so good. I'm so happy that Nagoro decided to work with us. It's one of the funniest games we've ever done. It's so fun, just this absurdity of going back and forth between high society bickering and then slap fighting. We've been showing it on the road. Everybody loves it whenever we play it. It's kind of flying under the radar, so again, if you're looking for a really interesting exclusive game on Nintendo Switch, I highly recommend checking it out. I'm so proud that we got this game out. So we wanted to start there.
Adam,
Yes.
I did show this off at PAX, and what a wild
Yes.
reaction this game got. Like, it drew crowds because people gathered around watching somebody slapping a lady, a fancy lady. But it was, it got people were really into this game.
Yeah, you have to
Oh, yeah.
experience it, and also, if anybody's wondering, probably not the people that know our company, but hey, what's this game company doing at Anime Expo? You can tell a lot of our games really lean heavily into anime aesthetics, manga aesthetics. We love the games from Japan that we grew up on. We love the anime series, and so stuff like this where we can blend those elements, where we can have the old school gameplay, but have animation, anime style animation sequences, cinematic stuff like that. That's, I think, kind of the new version of Wayforward. Next up, we have a game that is far more manly than this one.
Oh boy. Wait.
It's time for revenge. Let's attack aggressively.
Oh, hi, Steve Bloom. Or Blum.
Contra, Operation Galuga.
Woo!
Wayforward returns to the Contra series following 2007's celebrated Contra 4 with a reimagining of the original Contra adventure. Contra Operation Galuga follows elite commandos Bill Reiser and Lance Dean as they battle the Red Falcon terrorist group. Classic Contra gameplay gets a graphical upgrade, plus new stages, enemies, bosses, and systems. We have with us Tom Hewlett, the producer of Contra 4 on Nintendo DS and the director of Contra Operation Galuga. What was it like rejoining Bill and Lance after all these years?
It was it was wild. It's obviously a big honor to work on a series like Contra, so to come back to it again years later is a double super honor. But yeah, we just did everything we could to put in anything we couldn't fit into Contra 4 back in the day, make the ultimate Contra game. And yeah, please check it out. And then since this is an Anime Expo crowd, we have a lot of great voice actors in there. You heard Steve Bloom do the title call.
Oh, yeah.
Kira Buckman's in there. There's a bunch of other people I forget, but they all did amazing, of course, because they're amazing voice actors. And please check it out. Awesome.
Woo!
All right, next up is one of our first exclusives. This is the first time anybody is seeing this. This is the first time anybody is hearing this, because there's a small preview of a very funny song that you'll hear the full thing of later. You guys might have been aware of this DLC if you're following Wayforward. Here you go, check it out.
Oh yeah, Double Dragons, Billy and Jimmy, here we go. That's me. The trackers are here, you ain't see it, double. We're gonna break your bones till we turn it to rubble. River City needs to pick from the evil crime boss. So the punch will keep your eyes start to crow. Yo, I'm Billy, my hair's smooth as silk. My bones are strong, cause I like to drink milk. Hey, I'm Jimmy, I only just heard about the milk thing and I'm extremely concerned. You can tell with the best. I just wanna follow up on the previous thing. What the style that we use? No, the thing about milk.
Ah. Nice.
We are very proud to announce the first DLC pack to our River City Girls 2 game. Brings Billy and Jimmy Lee, the Double Dragons, out of the dojos and into the streets to battle the enemies and villains. Once again, Aaron Hansen and Dan Evden from the Game Grumps are voicing them. And as you can hear, they composed a completely exclusive song rapping in character as Billy and Jimmy Lee. The entire thing's hilarious. You guys are gonna hear the full thing when we launch the title. In addition, the DLC also has a seasonal shop, new motion comic, and some other goodness. And here to talk about it, Bannon Rudis, the director of River City Girls 2 and the DLC.
Hello, everybody. So ever since I started doing River City stuff, I've always tried to squish in as much like Double Dragon stuff. I kind of consider like the Technoverse, just all the like combat tribes and dodgeball and whatever I can like squeeze in there. And Art goes, okay, whatever, Bannon, sure. So, but yeah, this is featuring Billy and Jimmy Lee, not Bimmy. Sorry, Billy and Jimmy Lee.
Sorry, April Fools.
Yes. And yeah, I put in a lot of effort into making these characters actually worth your time and effort, because yeah, they're really fun to play as. I'm still to this day tweaking them and going like, well, maybe I'll do this, so you can do this combo or whatever. So, but yeah, they are incredibly fun to play as. Like Adam said, there is the 2 new stores. I personally even like drew the like little pixel shops on the outside and added in another thing that I don't think I even told you. Maybe I don't know. You'll see it.
I don't know.
Yeah, you'll see it. But yeah, so I highly recommend getting this when it comes out.
Soon. And one of the cool things about it too, you mentioned the seasonal shop. So we wanted to have something in the game. We've been wanting to do this for a long time, even going back to the first one, that would keep people playing the game regularly. And took a note from Animal Crossing, where you get the seasonal holidays that bring the special items. So think of it with the new shop that we added with shopkeeper Miho, is essentially a seasonal shop. So several times throughout the year, I think it's 6 times throughout the year, she will change what she is forced to wear by her employer, and you will change what exclusive items are in there, and it gets changed out throughout the year, so you get some Christmassy items and some Halloween items and stuff like that. It's something that we wanted to add to really just keep people coming back and playing the game. And we won't reveal it yet. Miho has a very renowned voice actor that we will be announcing in the coming months. You guys,
And the store is very easy to find.
Yes, yeah.
So it's right there at the beginning. So.
Oh, and one other thing worth mentioning, we talked about how Aaron and Danny did the VO again. We are always listening to feedback of players. One of the feedback points that Bannon and I got on River City Girls 2 is that the dialogue was a little too samey between the characters. That was done for efficiencies. You know, a lot of the characters kind of talk like each other. There's not a lot of unique lines. We rewrote every single line unique for Billy and Jimmy Lee. So we really went all out. We're listening to the feedback of you guys. We think that you're really gonna love their dialogue. Dan and Aaron were hilarious in the studio, and can't wait for you guys to play them.
I had to do the line reads with Aaron, and I could not keep up with Aaron. That is a machine.
Yep.
So yes, but yes.
And perfect timing, we have our leader of the directors, creative director Matt Bozon.
How you going, man?
Before
Doing
you
very
got here,
good.
Matt, when we were introducing each other really quickly, we had everybody on the panel say one short piece of advice for people that want to get into video games.
Oh.
Don't try to take the 5 freeway to the 110. Well, I'm so sorry for being late. We're just sitting for an hour on the freeway.
But you made it, and actually, it's
Yeah.
perfect timing, because
try to
here is our
real
next
advice.
title.
Real advice.
Oh, yes! Oh, yeah.
Following the 2002 release of the first Shantae game on Game Boy Color, its GBA sequel began production but was never completed until now. Shantae Advanced Risky Revolution, the lost Shantae game, has finally been finished and will be releasing next year on GBA reproduction card as well as modern PC and consoles. I don't know if you know, Matt, I have now just this month been working at Wayforward for 20 years underneath you.
Congrats.
And the first time I visited you guys, you let me play this game. You had it on cart and we played the multiplayer mode when we grabbed lunch. So this is not some like elaborate ruse. This game was in development over 20 years ago. And what has it been like getting a chance to finish it, getting a chance to go back and resume something that started so long ago?
All right, so it's kind of weird. You know, this is not a retro homage game. In case anyone's wondering, you know, pixel art is very popular these days. A lot of people like to use it for their indie games. This is an actual, like, you know, we had to go back, reinstall old hardware, like dig up our old files. Like a lot of this stuff, even this year, you know, we're working in MS-DOS or in DOS, right? So it's like I go into DOS, go into old DPaint tools of 1984. So it's been like being in a time machine. So it's crazy. There's all kinds of like insane stuff that was extremely restrictive on Game Boy Advance, but it was actually really fun. It's fun to go back and make a game that you have a very small team, just a couple of people. But it's also super cool to get a second chance because you know, a game that's been canceled and put away for this long, it is very unusual for something like this to come back, and with the original team coming back together.
I was going to say, this is not just current Wayforward. You're getting back together with the lead programmer that you worked with on so many titles back then.
Yeah. Most of our Game Boy Advance titles were Michael Straggy, who you might know him as the Booger Man guy. He wrote our tech back then. So, and we haven't worked together for this entire time. So, I mean, Aaron and I, right here with Shantae right there. Thanks for getting me here. It's all of us back together. He had a gap in his work schedule, and we talk every I don't know, 5-6 years, like, oh, we're going to finish that game. It just lined up. He had an opening, so did we. There was funding. We had a bunch of great partners coming in saying, yeah, let's actually do this. It seems like there was an audience for it, which is you guys, so thank you.
Woo!
So we got to actually do it, and yeah, it's done. It's done now. It's done as though it was done in 2004. So now we get to port it to modern consoles, and even though we just finished it, it is like literally as old as if we had finished it 20 years ago, which is such a weird concept. But yeah, we got to port now very old tech that we've just had our fingers in, but you know, it's still a job. So
do you think that anything changed in how you made the game now versus how you would have made it back then? Have you noticed as you went any of your sensibilities that are different than Matt 20 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back into it, and also I need to, like, how much time do I?
No, you're good. I'll move it.
I can just move it, right? Some of the ideas from that game were used in future Shantae games because we don't like to waste anything. So there are some parts that were so unique to that game that they just stayed. You know, that's just what's on the hard drive. And the game that you played years ago, Adam, was still there. But some of the other ideas had already been reused. So Risky's Revenge has some ideas in it. Pirate's Curse had some of the ideas in it. So there's these little vacuums, like little pockets of space where you go, well, you can't do that anymore. Like the second game was about Roddy Tops and her brothers, and they were bad guys in the second game. That was some of the core concept, and they couldn't be anymore because you already met them in Risky's Revenge, which now I guess I have to call game number 3. Or game number 2. I don't even know what to call these anymore. Yeah, so you do have to work around some stuff, and I think it's also more, it has a bit more of a modern sensibility. It's more playable, I think, now as a result of you know, all of us kind of maturing and becoming, I don't know, a little more focused on like what the players' needs are than making the games purely for like what we wanted back 20 years ago. So I think it's a more pleasant experience overall than it would have been. So the delay was a good thing in the end. So you think you're getting a better game because of it, probably a little different of a game, but I don't think you missed anything because the pieces that are peppered throughout the whole Shantae series, so you still get it. But I think it'll be fun for people to see it, and after you've played it, you know, maybe we do this again, it's like, hey, so that part was new. This part was 2 things grafted together. Like, it will make more sense after you play it, so.
And as you saw in the trailer, some of those elements with the character portraits are in HD. That's because there is the Game Boy Advance version, which limited run already sold on a repro card that actually plays on your GBA. But when it gets ported to PC, Switch, and PlayStation, it'll have HD elements, including the source res, HD character art, and some other little bells and whistles. So all of that is coming your way early next year.
Nice.
For the next one, this is very special. If we could turn the lights down pretty low, get pretty dark on this so everybody could really see this well. So a lot of you have been following our progress with the game Clock Tower Rewind.
Yeah.
And we have the project lead, Mariel, here to talk about it. But first, we want to show you guys this room exclusively, the first ever public viewing of the finished version of the intro anime sequence and the song, vocal song alongside that. So let's go ahead and play that.
Woo! So good.
Very cool. One of the earliest and most beloved survival horror games finally gets an official US release. Clock Tower Rewind offers English translation and a port to modern consoles to this previously Japanese-only 1995 Super Famicom game. The new release includes 2 game versions, animated intro, which you just saw, vocal songs, and special additional features. Mariel, we worked with you on this one. You were the project lead. Not only did you oversee development of the game and work with people on gameplay and game contents, you did a lot of what we just saw. Can you talk about kind of what that intro was, how you went about it, and what your role was on it?
Yeah, so I've animated my entire career, but I've only animated like side-scrolling fighting games, that kind of thing. So everyone is always like viewed from the side, and I do that okay. But when Adam approached me to lead and direct this animated short, I was like, oh my god, I've never done anything like this. I've never animated like in perspective, like I've, you know. So I kind of had to figure it all out as I went. Like I made short films in college, but that was a very long time ago. So I've been a fan of Clock Tower since I was 14. I discovered the game just in a giant zip of like ROMs that I grabbed, and Clock Tower was one of them. And just from the first time I played it, I became obsessed. It's one of my favorite games. I worked on my own personal project that was inspired by Clock Tower, so I really just love this game. So when this opportunity came up, it was like, oh my god, yes, absolutely. So I kind of started thinking about like, well, what would this intro be? You know, how would I kind of want to direct it? What would I want to see? And for this, we did start with the music first. And Dale North composed all the new music for the game. He did an amazing job. And I think he drew from the original theme from the games. Like the game doesn't have a ton of music, but it does have a very iconic theme. So drawing from that super iconic theme, he came up with this incredible song. We got Mary Elizabeth McGlynn from Silent Hill to sing it.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Sorry. Yes.
McGlynn.
Yeah, so started from the music and started kind of visualizing, okay, well, I have a little bit of a thread of a story here. You know, I kind of want to start with the introduction of the mansion, and then I want to have these shots. These are all places in the mansion. Some are kind of like super zoomed in, so I kind of had to come up with some new elements, but they're all places drawn from the game. And then I wanted to lead into, you know, Jennifer going deeper into the mansion and discovering the Scissor Man. So there's a little bit of a narrative thread there. I roughly animated the whole thing and sketched out all of the backgrounds, and then I got help from a couple friends and Studio Future Club to help on the animation. And then I also did a bunch of the compositing. So I really did probably most of it, which is kind of crazy, but not, you know, I couldn't have done it without a ton of help. And yeah, for my first time kind of directing and animating anything like this, I'm pretty happy with it. So.
We talked a little bit at the beginning, going back to your Wayforward origins with Barbie and Silent Hill over a decade ago. But I believe this is the first time you've been on a project, and really it was just because of your passion and how much we knew you loved the brand and we trusted you. I think this is the first time that you've led something at Wayforward where you're not working with a director like Tom or Bannon or myself. You are the creative lead. What was that like for you?
I mean, I feel like I got very lucky with this one because it is bringing the original game back. So in that sense, you know, we really just wanted to keep it authentic to the original game. So we have the original Super Nintendo game as it was, and then we have an enhanced version, which we're calling the Rewind version, where we worked with a modder, basically, who did this patch of the clock tower, the ROM that's out there. And we worked with this modder to kind of bring all these additional features to the game. So in that sense, as a lead, I got very lucky because a lot of the work was kind of done and we were able to lean on the work of other people. But you know, all of these new elements that we brought in, kind of this new art, the new intro, we have new music, you know, I was able to kind of help guide that. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's a little nerve-wracking because as a fan myself, I know like how much pressure is on to make something that will make the other fans happy. But you know, I think we worked really hard on it, and I really hope that people will enjoy it.
This is kind of the second really, you know, we've been calling them informally Port Plus games where we put a lot of extra features. The first one with River City Zero, River City Girls Zero, Kuni Utachi no Banka, where we added an intro sequence, song, all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that we want to do with these releases is we want to preserve these games that had not come out here in the US. So we want to be very careful with that. So just as we did on River City Girls Zero, where we had a very faithful, very straightforward version of the translation, and then one that was kind of written a little more in the version of the way that the characters speak, and we gave you that choice. We wanted to do the same here. So as Mariel and team were looking at some of the features, some of the quality of life enhancements, all of those are available in the game. However, you can also play the game exactly as it was in 1995 on the Super Famicom. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't making you choose. We weren't saying we're forcing you to have a modern version or we're forcing you to play a version that maybe feels a little bit kind of outdated. We always want to give you guys the options, and so I was very happy that you guys have both of those game modes in there. Next up is a very, very old classic game brand that James Montagna was able to update with some help from me and Matt Bozon and other talented people at Wayforward. We're very excited. This one is coming out later this year. Let's see the trailer.
How goes the mission? Server room, install the dongle, then get out.
You got it. Good luck.
Wayforward teams with Atari to reimagine one of their most unique Atari 2600 games with Yars Rising. The game follows hacker Amy Kimura as she and her friends battle evil mega conglomerate Kotek, ultimately finding herself in an intergalactic battle for the fate of humanity. The action platformer adventure features retro hacking minigames and a lore-filled news story driven by VO performance and motion comic sequences. James was the one that directed this. This was your project after Advance Wars. Did you know Yars Revenge on 2600? Were you a fan of that game?
Yeah, I was you know what? It was the Atari Flashback that I got. It was like a TV plug and play game, and I played Yars through that of all things. So I knew of it, and I kind of maybe played the Game Boy Color one maybe years ago, but I kind of recently revisited it because of that. So it was fresh in my mind. You know, many of us at Wayforward, we're kind of gaming historians who just love games. So we like to play these really old games just from many, many years ago. But when we were developing this, I thought maybe there's a lot of people that have never heard of Yars Revenge, which was released in 1982. You'd be forgiven for not knowing it. But for its time, it was a huge hit. In fact, it was the top-selling first-party game on the Atari 2600 game console. So this is just the oldest IP that I've worked with, and as far as brands that Wayforward work, it's probably among the oldest. So it's really special to reimagine it. But I thought it would be really cool to make a game for people that maybe have never heard of Yars Revenge and introduce them to something that we think is super cool, but sort of reimagine it in a way that feels really contemporary and modern.
And I think one of the cool things is you look at the games that Wayforward does, they really do show the style of each director. And one of the things that James always goes above and beyond in regard to is the soundtrack. You can tell just the song is so catchy. There are so many songs in this game, so many incredible composers. Yes. One of the best soundtracks I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I you know, this is an interesting one because if you play Yars Revenge, it's a weird game. It's so abstract, like a lot of games from that time, but even more so. And you know, we could have gone one way with it. We could have done a very direct adaptation where you are the Yar and it's all about alien worlds and stuff like that. But we kind of, you know, between myself and James and Matt had our own spin on it with this hacker girl, Amy Kimura. We pitched Atari, they really liked the idea, and we kind of took it from there. James, probably more than anything you've worked on before, at least a Wayforward, this is very much Emmy's story. This is really all about this one singular character. What are your thoughts on her, and what was it like making a game around this character? Why is she so important?
Well, we wanted to, first and foremost, create this character that people would fall in love with. You know, so many Wayforward games, I think one of the tenets of what makes a Wayforward game is just really awesome characters that you will feel a connection with. And so we really gave it our all with Emmy. As far as this game is concerned, though, it was really interesting because Atari came to us and they said right off the bat, make a Wayforward game. They really wanted us to take the spirit of the games we've developed over the years and all the game development know-how and my personal experience recently working with Nintendo. I learned so much just from that experience of collaborating with Nintendo and years of working with Matt on Shantae games and all that. I'm trying to do my best to fold all that into this to make the best game possible. And so much of that is this story that we're telling with this character, and it really does feel like a Wayforward game. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about Emmy herself as a character. In this game, you'll be taking the role of this character that's a black hat hacker for hire. So she's kind of this antagonistic character at the start of the game. And her role is basically she hacks for money. She kind of has her hacker crew and they take on various gigs where they get paid to hack things. And so the story takes place in the year 2049 in Syzygy City, which is kind of cyberpunk inspired setting, where Emmy's hacker crew gets a gig from a mysterious client with deep pockets to hack this company called Kotek from the inside. Now Kotek's like this big technology company that everyone knows, and this is like an insane gig, but they have to do it. She's got to take it because the money's right, and so the game starts out where it's the day of her infiltrating there. She's got a job there, she's won their trust after several weeks, and now she's gonna stay late and hack them from the inside. But the game starts where she gets caught, and basically she needs to find a way out of the building, and over the course of it, unravel conspiracy. Now, Adam, you mentioned something briefly a minute ago, and I'd be very remiss on Atari's behalf not to mention it. The music of this game is really, truly special. For this game, it's the most ambitious Wayforward soundtrack in all of history. We have over 20 different musical artists contributing to the music of this game in an international collaboration, and it's absolutely insane what they were able to pull off. I think it might be maybe also one of the longest Wayforward soundtracks, so I hope you look forward to it. Right now, however, there is a contest that Atari is hosting, and it's a music remix contest. One of the artists who's contributing music to this game is an artist known as Moe Shop, and some of you, I see some faces lit up, maybe you know who that is. They are collaborating with artists Yushie and Toriana, and they're doing some amazing, incredible music for this game. There are stems released for the music that Moe Shop made for this game, and the contest actually ends, I think, in like a couple of days. So please, by all means, go check it out if you are musically inclined, and get your hands on the Moe Shop stems and remix it, and I look forward to hearing what you make. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Wayforward Publishing is working closely with Atari to market the game. We have so many creative, cool marketing opportunities coming up, cool promotions, cross promotions with live events and stores in the LA area and stuff like that. So, yeah, keep an eye out. There's lots of cool, exciting stuff on the horizon.
And James, I just got that song out of my head, and now the trailer just put it right back. It's been months, you guys. I played this game a month ago.
By the way, we didn't mention this before, speaking of music, River City Girls, the song that you heard with Aaron and Dan rapping over it, is all of the music is by Megan McDuffie. She has been the heart of the music on River City Girls. We could never do anything RCG related without her, so we brought her back to do the song. Speaking of River City Girls, this is something that some of you might be aware exists and some of you might not, but it's Anime Expo, so it seemed like a good opportunity to highlight.
Ha! Yeah! Oh, nice!
Wayforward is excited, especially at Anime Expo, to be teaming with our friends at Crunchyroll to bring select Wayforward games to mobile devices as part of Crunchyroll's Game Vault. You can play these Wayforward titles completely free if you're a Crunchyroll subscriber at either the Mega Fan or Ultimate Fan tiers. River City Girls, complete with Hime-chan cameo as one of the shopkeepers, and Dawn of the Monsters are available now. We've got additional titles including Spider Sores, directed by Tom, and Ruby Arrowfell, based on the popular anime CG series coming out in the near future. For more info, check out crunchyroll.com/games. Lastly, I just wanted to say, in addition to everything we showed you guys tonight, we have so many good titles available on PC and consoles. Some of them are shown here. Lunark, our retro cinematic platformer. Ruby Arrowfell, based on the CG series. Spider Sores, our run and gun Saturday morning cartoon. Catgirl, our insane shmup. Shantae and the Seven Sirens, and all the Shantae games. Dawn of the Monsters, a Kaiju Brawler. 3 River City Girls games to date, and they're also getting the DLC for Part 2 on the horizon. And of course, our Metroidvania horror classic, The Mummy Demastered. You can pick up any of these titles right now on PC, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. Look at our social media, we're regularly doing sales. And yeah, check out these titles if you haven't seen them yet. So, like we did last year, now we wanted to do a little bit of trivia. We've got some questions involving Wayforward games and characters. We're going to ask you a question. There's 6 of them. If you know the answer, raise your hand. Please be honest, don't raise your hand before you know the answer. And we'll have somebody here call on you. And if you get the right answer, you get one of these Wayforward limited run game special limited edition game products. So,
Adam, can I
Yeah.
participate?
of course, yeah.